financial markets. Now, let's cross over to MTN Uganda stock. Now, MTN was another company here that gained on the stock market after several days of losing. MTN gained yesterday by 1.53% margin, and that was an increase of 2.77 Ugandan shillings to over 183.26 Ugandan shillings closing price. Due to this increase, because of course from 180.49 on the previous day of trading, MTN also made it amongst the top gainers for the day on Friday. MTN, however, began the year with a share price of 194.99 Ugandan shillings. So therefore, on the year-to-date performance calculator, it is still on the losing side, shedding off 6.02% in this period from the 1st of January to date. And it's ranked number 10 in terms of this year-to-date performance on the Uganda Securities Exchange. 10 out of the 18 listed, cross-listed, out of the 18 listed companies. MTN, however, is the fourth most traded stock on the Uganda Securities Exchange over the past 3 months. That's from the 13th of June to the 9th of September. And within this period of 3 months, MTN has traded a total volume of over 14.5 million shares, valued at 2.74 billion Ugandan shillings, with an average of about 229,756 traded shares per session. And they had a volume high of 2.28 million shares that was achieved on the 22nd of August within the same period. And when you look at the last days of trading on the 9th, that was last Friday, they had 4,650 shares that were traded, closing at 183.26 Ugandan shillings closing price, after appreciating by 2.77. We also had on the 8th of September about 50,550 shares that were traded, closing the day with a price of 180.49. That was on Thursday. Still on Wednesday, they still had a volume of over 34,200 shares that were traded and closing the day with a price of 180.19. And so when you look at the MTN stock, yes, they have had some good volumes, much as still we are seeing a decline in performance. On a 1 week basis, still on a gain of just about 0.87%. But in the monthly performance, they have lost about 0.94%. And on a 3 months basis, they have lost over 3.55%. And year to date, like we have mentioned already, 6.02%. So if you're looking at liquidity, MTN is a good way to go. And in the long run, if you're looking at gaining some money within the near future, yes, you should buy some more stock, at least at MTN, to get yourself going. It's the youngest company that has been listed on the Uganda Securities Exchange. And currently, we are looking at also one of the most active counters. Coming in the fourth place is not easy for someone who's just listed not even a year ago, just about 7 or 8 months ago. No, really about 10 months ago. So you're not looking at someone who is very experienced within the market, but is so far doing extremely well. And so we hope to even have a better performance within the near future as well on the MTN stock. The shares outstanding currently at MTN are over 22.4 billion shares, and 4.11 trillion is the current market capitalization of the company, and it is the second most valuable company with this market capitalization of 4.11 trillion Ugandan shillings, which constitutes about 18.4% of the entire Uganda Securities Exchange equity market. MTN recently changed, of course, leadership from Mr. Wim van Helmont, who has been the CEO of the company, to Madame Sylvia coming in from Safaricom. And of course, we are now looking at how this is going to also impact the performance of the company on the exchange. Thank you very much for staying tuned. We are still analyzing and breaking down the stock performances here on the Uganda Securities Exchange as per the 9th of September. That was the 9th of September trading last Friday. The markets don't work on the weekend, so we don't have performances on Sunday or Saturday, but we look at Monday to Friday, and we look at Friday in particular on Mondays and see how we can get started as we start our trading within the new week. Now, moving ahead to the Uganda Securities Exchange All Share Index, because of a relatively better performance for the day, we had the benchmark index inch up about 0.64 points, and that was a 0.05% daily gain, closing at exactly 1,295.75 points. Now, this represents a 1-week gain of over 1.39% and a 4-week loss still of 3.96%, and yet an overall year-to-date loss of 8.79%. In terms of the local company index, the local companies performed also much better than the day before, pushing the local company index up by 1.13%, and this index closed at 272.32 points, making it a 1-week loss of 0.25% and a 4-week loss of 0.57%, and yet an overall year-to-date loss of 16.12%. And when you look at the end of the weekday of trading, there was a total volume of 224,751 shares that were traded on the market, corresponding to a market value of over 39 million 18,071 Ugandan shillings, which were traded. Compared with the previous day of trading, that was the 8th of September, we are seeing that Uganda Securities Exchange saw an improvement of over 161% in terms of the volume, and a 288% improvement in the turnover as well. The current market capitalization at the Uganda Securities Exchange is 22.3 trillion Ugandan shillings on the market. Before we wind up this performance, let's first have a look at Wumeme. Wumeme is a very interesting stock because it is currently one of the most active stocks, and also looking at their turnover for all the quarterly bulletins we've had from the Capital Markets Authority, at least this year. You're talking about the first quarter, the second quarter as well, which have been released. Wumeme came out as the biggest company with trading the biggest turnover and one of the most traded stocks within the Uganda Securities Exchange. Now, Wumeme was first incorporated in Uganda as a private limited company on the 6th of May 2004, and later became a public company on the 28th of June 2012 under the Companies Act. Wumeme is a subsidiary of Wumeme Holdings, which is itself a subsidiary of Actis Infrastructure. And when you look at an investment fund that was under the management of Actis through a holding company in Mauritius. Actis Infrastructure Umeme Limited was the one that took over Umeme. Umeme took over the distribution of and supply of electricity in Uganda from the Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited under a concession period of 20 years in the year 2005. On the Uganda Securities Exchange, it was listed on the 30th of November, and since then has been trading under the ticker symbol UMEM. And currently it has one of the most valuable stocks with a total of 325 billion shillings worth of market capitalization. That's the total value of shares that are listed, and which constitutes about 1.46% of the entire Uganda Securities Exchange equity market. At 200 shillings on Friday, it traded the biggest volume, which was about 187,400 shares, and definitely had the biggest turnover as well. It has a total of over 1.62 billion Ugandan shillings. Uganda, that is shares, and these are valued at 325 billion. In terms of year-to-date performance, it is ranked the third after having gained by about 5.8% of the, in a daily gain. That is, you're looking at a daily performance, not year-to-date performance rather, and on the Uganda Securities Exchange, it is currently the number one in terms of year-to-date, number three, third in terms of year-to-date performance. It is still the third most traded stock within the last 3 months, trading over 14.7 million shares in this particular period. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We want to wind up this market in Uganda. As I said, it is very easy to get yourself some stock in some of these companies. First of all, you must have an identification card because you must be identifiable, and definitely you will need it to open yourself an SCD account, or a Securities Central Depository, where we're looking at depositing our stock. Now, when you get yourself your ID, you can visit the website of the Uganda Securities Exchange. That's www.use.or.ug, and look for Easy Portal. Easy Portal is where you can do your self-registration or self-enrollment into the Securities Central Depository system. And in here, they will ask for your like I said, identification card, your photograph, and the rest is history. You have your account opened for you. The next step you need to make actually is to approach a stockbroker. You can visit their online websites and get to see their contacts. You can give them a call. You can also go to their offices if you wish. You can interact with them via email. But like I said, there are 5 stockbrokers actually currently in Uganda. The newest so far being Cheaper Technologies. The second one is Crested Capital. The third is SBG, that is Standard Bank Group Securities. The fourth is Dyer and Blair, and then the fifth we have UAP, Old Mutual Stock Brokerage Firm. These will give you access to the Uganda Securities Exchange. Of course, they'll do a KYC, know your customer, to see your risk, to assess your risk appetite, to see your interests and your dislikes. And later on, they will ask you, of course, for your opinion, what you would want to do on the exchange. Do you want to buy stock from companies that are cross-listed? Do you want to buy stock here in Uganda? They'll provide all this information and advice all together, and definitely you will get started. But like I said, always buy stock when it's going down. Don't worry about stock going down. Never sell in a panic, because then you will make a loss if you sell during a panic, when you're panicking to see that maybe you sell before prices go out of the window. And so putting that aside, we move now to the Nairobi Securities Exchange. This is also the biggest and the most active exchange in East Africa. And of course, Nairobi has seen several things around the exchange being affected, of course, by the election, which has just been ended, and also after the petitioning of the electoral commission and so many other things that have been going on in Kenya's politics. There was a significant decline in performance on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, but recent data is showing that the trends are changing. The markets are getting back to business. Companies are even performing much better during this period. Now, yesterday alone, we had, Friday, we had over 44 Nairobi Securities Exchange listed equities participate in trading, ending the day with 16 gainers and over 17 losers. Now, we had the Commercial Bank of Kenya led the gainers at a 9.68% gain. Share price closing the day with a price of 85 Kenyan shillings. The current rate at which the Kenyan shilling is trading with the Ugandan shillings, 1 Kenyan shilling goes for 31.7 Ugandan shillings. So if you want to know the price here, you can just make conversions and get to know how much money is worth, how much money the stock is worth on the Uganda Securities Exchange. And when you look at the other gainers, we had Total. Total Kenya was also one of the top gainers at an 8.7% appreciation. Samia Africa was also another gainer at a 5.42% appreciation. And then Nation Media Group of companies was another gainer at a 4.43% gain on the stock exchange. On the losing side, however, we had Centum Investment Company who came out last with an end of day price depreciation of about 9.45%, and that was at 9.1 Kenyan shillings. Whereas BK Group also lost by 4.13%. Safaricom was another loser at 2.17%, and HF Group at 1.39% was also another loser there on the market. Safaricom recorded the highest volume, almost as usual. We have several times we have seen Safaricom come in as a top gainer, and you can see here also yesterday we recorded Safaricom as the biggest gainer, as the biggest actually trader, with a total volume of 3.14 million shares that were traded on the counter on Nairobi Securities Exchange. Kenya Power and Lighting Company was also a top mover there at a 2.02 million shares that were traded on the market on Friday. And Equity Group Holdings at 1.01 million shares traded per day, per trading session, was also another top mover. And Centum Investments Company also came in as a top mover at over 979,900 shares that were traded. Regarding the performance of the Nairobi Securities Exchange All Share Index, we had the benchmark index decline a little bit by 1.99 points, and that was a 1.39% decline there to close at 141.68 points, representing still a one-week gain, however, of 2.63% and a four-week loss of 3.57%, and an overall year-to-date loss of about 14.91%. At the end of the trading day, yesterday on Friday, the last weekday of trading, we had a total of over 10,424,800 shares recorded in 1,061 deals, corresponding to market capitalization of $240 2,540,578 Kenyan shillings, roughly 242 million Kenyan shillings that were transacted on the Nairobi Securities Exchange in the last trading day of the week. Compared with the previous NSE trading day, Thursday, the data shows an 16% decline in the turnover and a 3% decline in the deals, and the current market capitalization for Kenya, Nairobi Securities Exchange, is 2.21 trillion Ugandan Kenyan shillings rather. And yes, that's roughly the summary for the trading on Kenya. Now, Kenya, of course, when you look at their performance here, this is a really demonstration of better activity, at least in the near future. Kenya has gone through several mishaps, and the exchange itself has several problems that it has been addressing. One of the problems has been foreign investors who have been, recently after before the election, there was an influx of foreign investors who are moving out of the market, and due to this overselling of stock, there was a very much decline in the performance of the stock markets, at least within that period of time. And this adversely affected the index. Index also went down significantly during this period. But with this performance, we can say that the markets are promising. Kenya is coming back to its former strength, and we are even hoping for a much better activity in a few months to come. At least according to the Nairobi Securities Exchange, within the next few weeks that we are closing the quarter, the last quarter of the year, as we close into the last quarter, we are going to see better activity. And of course, companies will also be maybe coming to the end of the year with their reports and also issuance of dividends, maybe. So we might also see much better activity on the Nairobi Securities Exchange as we go into the year. So what's my advice? Buy right now. Buy from Nairobi Securities Exchange, because it seems it has hit the rock bottom, and you must be very vigilant, of course, to buy from those stocks that are active and also those stocks that are giving you value for your money. These include Safaricom. Of course, Safaricom has been very good. You also have maybe HF Group. We also have Total Kenya, Equity Group Holdings. These are some of the very most trading stocks, the biggest traders on the market, but also those that have been able to maintain a good performance within the recent past. Let's have a quick breather. We return with our last segment. We will look at some of the companies that performed well, including Total Kenya and Commercial Bank of Kenya, and also some of the losers like Safaricom, and see what gaps we might address within these stocks. Let's have a quick breather. We'll return shortly. Stay with us.